Well, another interesting component on the back of this development, the situation with the COVID pandemic and how we all fare during this pandemic. I'm talking about my fellow colleagues and practitioners in the training and compliance and ethics and coaching and therapy and well-being and all of these industries, because the human component, which is important to establish the connection with the audience you're supposed to train to make sure you achieve the results you set before yourself. This is really something that's been removed and replaced with a virtual connection. And through the virtual connection, you don't really accomplish much because you do need a bit of an energy exchange, to establish the connection needed to make sure that people get connected to you, pay more attention to what you say, and therefore you can trigger certain changes within them, positive changes that would stick with them, and they would benefit from having those improvements. How it can be done virtually, there's little research to tell us about it because we don't know. There's not enough stats to actually say that we can tick the box and we do the online training, we do a virtual training, we do a recorded session or something. The way people react to that, how the retention rate works, it's difficult to explain because no one has really measured that. But one thing is certain for sure, that the interaction with and between professionals within the course of the training session or coaching session or therapy session, it is essential that there's this sort of exchange using the human connectivity, and without that, it all turns into a bit of a flat experience that doesn't really stick. And just because once it happens, how can you take it to a new level? You just can basically say that yes, we took the training, we did this, we did that, so it does not bring any outcome. So therefore, without this human interaction, definitely, there's a certain percentage of the training lost, and its meaning and its value is difficult to measure yet, except for the fact that the training has taken place. So what I'm talking about when I actually hatched my project with Alan Wallner called the Transformative Business Ethics, that was actually having that idea in mind as well. Once you do something like that virtually, how much of that works, how much of that sticks, how much of that leaves an imprint and makes an impact. So, well, I have tried a few sessions with people, and I could say that yes, my approach is working, my method is working. There is definitely an outcome reported based on the feedback I get. So regardless of how skeptical I was initially about the quality of such a training done in a virtual settings, now I see that it is actually attainable. Maybe not as powerful as it could have been otherwise in the physical proximity, but it does convey the intended impact, and it does cause the changes necessary to ensure this full transformation within of an individual. And again, the beauty of it is that it's entirely monitored by this person. It's all under his control. There's no influence on my part, because my role in the virtual settings is to basically set up the preconditions for this transformation, to make sure that there's the right length of time, and even though there's very little interaction that may occur, at the same time it's more than enough to trigger the changes necessary. So to say that even in the virtual format, certain things can stick and could be retained and could actually be nearly as effective as in the first, the first person or face-to-face basis. But at the same time, we have to downgrade the importance of a virtual interaction just because certain things that are taken for granted or we expect them to be conveyed, they may not be conveyed, they may not have the kind of impact on a person that would otherwise be anticipated given the face-to-face interaction. So to sum it up, I've got to say that after a few sessions in the virtual settings, the project that we are currently developing, TBA, Transformative Business Ethics Initiative, it does seem like it can work over the cam. It's almost like doing this remotely and virtually, just like a regular business meeting, and it does deliver the kick. So I guess at that point we should be happy that it happens. And the outcome that has been measured, for example, in Ellen Woolner's case, the changes are permanent and they're there, because it's been now half a year down the road since Ellen and we did our first session. So I do not see any regression. I do not see, that the situation is coming back to what it used to be. So far from it. So basically, the virtual format does work, not for everyone, not for every solution, not for every situation. At the same time, trying and monitoring the impact of your virtual sessions is key, as any practitioner would do, because face-to-face interaction is always best for so many reasons, and it's so much more rewarding. But since given our constraints that are here to stay, most likely, still this intended impact can do the job. And I guess we should probably just tick that box, thinking that, okay, we have tried to see how far we can go with this, and in certain instances it is possible, it is working, that's gratifying. And since everyone again is looking at the magic bullet and the quick fix, I'm also aware that we've got to provide that instant gratification, and especially for the client to know that right away or just a little bit later, so that they know what they're experiencing is actually a fact, a hard fact of what they feel they're going through, their emotional state, the state they experience is a confirmation of the effectiveness of the method used during the session. So we'll look more into this in the coming episodes, so stay tuned.